Hey guys, welcome back to the Real Estate Stew
with the What's Cooking crew. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Keisha.
And guys, Keisha, we've been getting a ton of questions. I mean,
Absolutely.
A lot of questions. So I know the market's been going crazy, but wow, you can really tell with all these questions
Exactly.
coming in.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And we know that a lot of you all are thinking about making your very first home purchase. So we want to help you get prepared for that. Because we know that as a first-time home buyer, you have so many decisions to make. And sometimes you get overwhelmed. And sometimes you get caught up in the excitement of, ooh, let me go find the house, let me find the right house. And it can lead you to making some rookie mistakes that you might actually regret later on. So we want to help you with that because we realize that the more you know, the better off you'll be.
Yeah, and guys, that's why we've come up with 10 common first-time homebuyer mistakes to avoid.
And the very first one is not getting pre-approved for a mortgage before you start shopping. Because we know that a lot of people start their house hunting experience online. And we have statistics that show that. As a matter of fact, the NAR shows that 43% of buyers' very first step when they purchase is to shop online.
43%?
Yeah.
So to me, Keisha, what that's saying is that means, guys, almost 50% of you are surfing at home when you should be working. That's what I think that means, Keisha.
Okay, that's one interpretation. It also means that many of you are online falling in love with homes that you might not even be able to purchase. So it's important that you know if you can buy first, and secondly, how much you can afford before you invest time viewing homes online.
And guys, remember, sellers, when you make an offer, getting that pre-approval that Keisha just talked about is very important. But understand, sellers, you want them to take you seriously. And they are not going to take you seriously, especially if they feel there's a possibility that your deal may fall through. So get pre-approved. Okay, and guys, getting pre-approved and having that approval from the lender takes us right on into the thing that I want to tell you next is, remember the importance of not just getting a pre-approval with the lender, but taking your time to shop.
Yep.
You definitely want to shop around with lenders, right? You know, let me give you an example. When you say, hey, I'm going to buy a car, do you just run out and buy a car from any dealership? No, you say, hey, I want this model car, I want this color car, right? And then you go to 2-3 different dealers, and when you go to the dealership, you say, hey, who's going to give me the best deal? That's who you buy from. So guys, why would you make the largest investment in your life and not shop? So here's the tip that we want to tell you: shop lenders. And many of you say, but Mr. King, when we shop, our credit's going to take a hit, right? It's going to go down, right? That's not true, and we'll talk about that. But for now, what we want you to know is, hey, 3 lenders, shop, get the best terms, the lowest interest rates, lowest rates, and that's how you're going to go about doing this right.
Because what a lot of buyers don't realize, there's a huge discrepancy in the fees that different lenders charge. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to that loan estimate sheet when you see it from each of your lenders so that you can compare and get the best terms. So rolling right into number 3, which is one of my favorites. It's taking too much time because you're looking for the perfect house, right? And we know in real estate that finding the perfect house is like finding the perfect spouse. Perfect house, perfect spouse.
Well,
doesn't exist.
What? That's not what my wife says. Actually, my wife says God broke the mold when He created me, Keisha. Like that.
Okay. It's probably a good thing that mold has been broken. So as it pertains to the perfect house, though, getting back to that, awful spouse, realize that there are just a ton of options out there. And sometimes if you're focused on checking all of these little bitty boxes, you miss great opportunities. And sometimes you miss the chance to get into a house that could very well work for you.
Wow, yeah. And speaking of that, I know you mentioned perfection. And I think you were, I do think perfection comes at a price.
We're going to roll right on past that. But I will address the fact that, yes, price is a consideration because while you're waiting, prices are continuing to rise. In Texas right now, the appreciation rate is about 16%. So that means if you're looking at a $300,000 house today, in another year, that $300,000 house is going to potentially cost you $50,000 more. So that's a huge price to pay while you're shopping around for perfection. And sometimes it's just a matter of investing a little sweat equity into making a good deal into a great deal.
Wow. But guys, what I want to tell you is don't get so fixated on finding the perfect home, because there's something else you need to take into account, and that's neighborhood. So guys, understand a huge mistake that we see is we get so involved on, I want a two-story, right? Or I want to be over in this particular neighborhood with this, and this, but we really focus on the house and not the neighborhood. So think about commute time, guys.
Yes.
Think about schools.
Yes.
Think about safety, right? And so Pat, what do you mean commute? So what I mean by commute is if you've got to work and you're not able to remote, right, work from home, then you need to think, is it going to take an hour, 2 hours to get to work, which is 3-4 hours of your day? If you've got family that's going to be assisting with your needs, right, taking care of the kids, or did they say, hey, they're willing to commute a long distance just to help you out and watch the kids? So no, they want to be close. So you need to make sure you're close to family. So you have to take all these things into account. What about those neighborhoods you go to and the grass is 2 feet tall and you're like, oh my goodness, am I paying an HOA? Or what is the HOA doing? Is it really taking care of? Take all of these things into account, right? Upkeep, safety. Yeah, safety, that's another one. I mean, oh my goodness, are you going to have to get in before dark because you're worried like, oh my God, what might happen? You know, these are all things that you need to take into account. So guys, choosing a good neighborhood is very important in the home buying process. So don't get so fixated on the house.
Which takes us to our next point. You want to make sure you're not buying more house than you really can afford. Even though you want to get in the right neighborhood, right, you still want to be mindful of your budget. Everybody wants to buy a $400,000 house for $300,000, right? So in reality, though, you have to stick to your budget because you don't want to end up in a situation where you're facing foreclosure, can't pay your mortgage, getting behind on other things. So make a budget, stick with it. Remember, always, always, always stick with the choices that you've made when it comes to how much you can afford.
Yep. And not only, guys, sticking with how much you can afford, remember, a lot of you are going to save, right? Many of you probably been saving for years. And now you have this lump sum of money in your account. And you're like, yes, I'm ready to take it on. And I'll tell you what I hear all the time. Most people come and they're like, you know what, Mr. King, I've got 20% saved to put down. And you are just ready. And here's what happens. You deplete all your savings just to get in the house. Right. You know, you're like, I'm going to take the conventional loan. I'm going to do the PMI and avoid that because I'm putting 20% down. But here's the deal, guys. What I want you to know, a big mistake is spending all your money just to get in the home. Understand there are other opportunities, other ways to get in the home with less than 20% down. There's some 3% down programs, 3.5% down, 5%. There's even some zero downs for our veterans, et cetera. So bottom line, don't spend all your savings just to get in a home. And here's another example. Let me give you, guys, just a few months, we had the winter storm. Y'all remember that? The winter freeze? Do you know how many individuals had burst pipes and then found themselves in a situation where their insurance didn't cover the pipes being burst? So what do you think happened? They went to their savings. Oops, there was nothing in the savings. So what did they do? For many individuals, they were in this house with damaged pipes, et cetera, for an extended period of time. So guys, it's critical that you keep savings when you move in the home for emergency funds. We always like to recommend at least about 6 months. And so if you've got 6 months of living expenses, you should be in great shape. So, Keisha, there you go. What do you think?
So number 7, which is also kind of related, right, to money, would be credit. Because I know everybody knows that lenders check your credit before you get started in order to give you that pre-approval. But what some of you may not know is they also check it right before you close. Let me say that again. The lenders will check your credit again right before you close because they want to make sure nothing has changed about your financial situation that can jeopardize your ability to repay that loan. So true. So if you're tempted to go buy a bunch of new furniture or have a brand new car in the driveway of your brand new house, avoid the temptation. Don't go out and change your credit score, cause your credit score to change by taking out new loans, new credit cards, charging up your credit cards, applying for new auto loans or things like that, because it could compromise and jeopardize that final loan approval. You don't want that. So make sure you're doing things that will improve your credit and not worsen it.
Yeah, and on that note, guys, not just improving your credit is important, but also remembering to look into other types of programs like FHA, USDA, and VA. Remember, a lot of first-time home buyers don't realize that they might qualify for some of the government insured programs, right? Like the Federal Housing Administration, for our veterans, right? The U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, and for the Department of Agriculture. Guys, these are programs where you can get into a home with as little as, for our veterans, 0 down.
Right.
And for the FHA, it's 3.5% down. So not all this 20% down stuff, but we're talking 3.5, 0. So for a lot of you, it makes all the difference in the world. And guys, here's the other thing. Conventional loans typically are credit score driven. The government-backed loans are credit history driven. So I've had clients with like a 620 credit score and get an interest rate as competitive as those on the conventional side with like a 700 plus credit score. So again, please take time to look into the government-backed loan programs, because they, in many cases, can make all the difference in the world in how your home purchasing goes. So guys, make sure you take time to do that.
While we're talking about money, our ninth thing to avoid is underestimating the true costs of homeownership, because it's not just the mortgage payment,
That's
right? And I
very
think sometimes we forget that there are other expenses that go along with purchasing a home, like insurance. So we have to take care of that. We have to take care of taxes. Now, if you have an escrow account, those things are going to be included in your mortgage payment, so no problem. But we also need to have a little money tucked away for repairs, maintenance, those things, utilities. Hello, we need lights, water, gas. We also may be in a neighborhood that has a homeowners association fee. For all of those of you who like those pools and nice amenities and clubhouses and trails, that stuff is not free. Let me be the first to tell you. So you have to consider those things when you're purchasing. Your lender may also require you to take out mortgage insurance. So you want to make sure you're considering all of the costs of home ownership and that you can afford it.
And guys, that takes us to our last point that we want to make as far as things to avoid, and that is making your decision to buy a home based on emotions. That's never a great thing, guys. So we strongly recommend that you not do that. Granted, there'll be a little bit of emotions involved, but don't make the biggest investment, the biggest purchase of your life based on that. Remember, your decision needs to be objective and not just based on your feelings. Because we want you to be in a home, and here's what I tell first-time home buyers when they come to me. They always say, Mr. King, what do you think? Here's my best advice. Remember, your first home doesn't have to be your last home. So if you make this purchase right, meaning you take the steps, follow some of the advice we've just gone through, then guys, you will always be around to make another purchase another day. So make this purchase right? Make it objective, and you'll always be able to purchase again later. So don't put all the emotions in it, and you guys will be in great shape.
So to, I guess, summarize what we've shared with you today, we just want to encourage you to, again, make sure you're making a well-informed decision. So you have to strategize. Come up with a strategy, review your budget, make sure you know how much you can afford, and also make sure that you're coming up with a realistic set of criteria that fits that budget that you've already established. At the end of the day, we always encourage you to consider working with a real estate professional, because it helps to have somebody on your team who's done this a few times, or, you know, in Patrick and I's case, a few thousand times, who can give you some advice on what to do and help you get to the finish line successfully. So they'll get you through the pre-approval process, the making an offer process, and the closing process, and help you get through some of the pieces of this that can be rather daunting, and just give you that extra support.
Yeah, and guys, another thing that comes up all the time is I'll hear people say, well, you know, but I've got Google, and, you know, I'm doing all these websites. Remember, guys, every purchase people make it's different. Why? Because you guys are all different. Yeah. There is no one purchase that's the same. And so I do Google, I do all those programs and websites and all that stuff too, but it's nothing like having someone work with you that can identify and truly understand and walk the journey, hold your hand with you, and understand your personal situation. So reach out, understand you're not alone in the process, seek professional advice like Keisha said. And hey guys, with that being said, Keisha, I'm gonna say, listen, we appreciate you tuning in with the Real Estate Stew and the
What's Cooking Crew.
And we're gonna see you next time, guys.
Don't forget to like,
subscribe,
comment,
and I think Keisha always likes to say,
ring that bell, yeah.
Yay. All right, hey guys, we'll see you next time.
Y'all
Bye,
take
everybody.
care. Bye-bye.